guys. Welcome to Podcast Fandom Premium. I'm your host, Nina.
I'm Donald.
And I'm John.
And we are back with a brand new season of Westworld. Season 4 kicked off 2 nights ago, Sunday, June 26th. I was so fucking happy that this is back. Like, I don't even care if it's good. I'm gonna regret this later.
It's called Westworld, not Best World. Come on.
It's just, I don't know. I just missed it. I miss these characters. I miss the music. I'm just so happy it's back. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about season 4, episode 1, the Auguries. But first, I just want to quickly tell you guys what's coming up, because since this is the first podcast of a new season, this one will be marked as free on Patreon as well. So it's a good time to let you guys know what's going on with both the free shows and premium, because there is a lot. I feel like everything is on TV right now. And I'm a little overwhelmed. And that's a lot for me. But didn't Stranger Things just get here? Like, didn't we just talk about it? Ago. No, it feels like it was like less than that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we did talk about it like 2 weeks ago, but yeah.
It feels like there's no time at all has passed. So that returns. The last 2 episodes of the 4th season drop this Friday, July 1st. So with that, in addition to this and the stuff we were already covering, plus I feel like there's one new addition coming up on the schedule. Give me a second. Oh, Kaylee and I are starting a new K-drama, but that's fine because it's just replacing the one we're finishing now. What we have Miss Marvel. Oh, Only Murders in the Building, and that's a free show. That came back today. Yeah, today, I think. And we'll be covering that as well. Yeah, right? Me too. Me too. I was on Twitter. I saw it was trending and it was like, now available, second season streaming now. And I'm like, what? Now? Yeah, right now. So we're still covering that. The first 2 episodes of season 2 dropped today. We're going to be talking about those this weekend. And then, as we did last year when we covered season 1, we're going to be doing it every other week, every 2 weeks. Because like I said, there is a lot going on. And if I remember correctly, it's a half-hour comedy, right? It's a
sounds about 30.
Yeah, right? I don't think the episodes were an hour. So doing them 2 at a time really worked for us. So yeah, and the other thing, I just want to say thank you. I know I do this, and I don't know, maybe I don't have to, because nobody ever complains. Let me just say that right now. What I'm about to say, I have never heard. Nobody has ever tweeted me or emailed me. Even like when people unsubscribe and come back or just unsubscribe, there's like an exit poll. No one has ever said, oh, the podcasts are late, or I'm upset with the quality of it. It's typically I got to make some financial changes, or I signed up to listen to the coverage of this particular show. I'll be back when the show is back, like that type of stuff, right? So no one has ever made me feel bad. That's not where I make myself feel bad, is what I'm trying to say. So I just want to apologize, because I know that sometimes we're late with stuff, and please know that it is me with Kaylee, and me with Donnie, and then me with Donnie and John, and then me sometimes with other folks that come on, but the rest of it is just me, and I'm trying to do a lot, and I am doing a lot. So what I realized today, I've realized this before, and I tend to do better and then fall back into old ways. But I realized this today, that I would do better to give myself some grace and some room, and that I do make the schedule, and that sometimes.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
you do it.
Yes, it's my schedule, and so What I think is, oh, well, this just dropped, so we have to talk about it now. And what I try to remember, or what I hope, is that, I know for a fact we're not the only podcast people listen to. I know that, you guys are consuming a lot of other reviews of stuff that you like, particularly those of you who hang out in the group with us. I know we all like reaction channels and such. So I know you guys are like getting your fill, and that you stick around because you like to hear our thoughts on, whatever the fuck it is we're talking about.
Because ours are the best, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. So I don't think anybody, though, is sitting around. My point was, I don't think that anybody is sitting around like you're not getting, this type of fix for these shows and other places, and they're just waiting for us, right? And maybe there are a few cases where, if Kaylee and I are covering a K-drama that nobody else is, happen to be covering or whatever, something like that. I know there are cases sometimes where we're covering stuff that just none of the other podcasts that you happen to be subscribed to are covering. So I know that you're not like just sitting around with bated breath. And I have to remember that. I have to like give myself that room to be like, this is okay. And to really think about what it is we're doing, like how many hours of television it is that we're watching. Sometimes for me, more than once, to make sure that when we sit down in front of the mic, I am giving you, the best. And this goes for whether you're paying for it or not. The best podcast that I can, and the best like discussion. And, Donnie will tell you, John, not so much, because I don't get to tell John what to do. But Donnie and Kaylee aren't so lucky. And Donnie will tell you that there are times when I get on him and Kaylee if I feel like, listen, you guys aren't talking enough. Like, I feel like you're distracted. I don't know what you're doing. And people pay for this. I'm very, I know there's some people like Kimberly, hey girl, who's like, no. I'm talking about Kimberly H, because I know there are two Kimberlys. Who are like, oh no, Nico is part of the podcast. And you guys have been really, really sweet about that, and I appreciate that. But also, like, no, like, he doesn't need to be breathing in the mic every podcast. It's my personal thing. I feel like, not everybody is okay with it. So those of you who are being very kind, but, for those who are not okay and who are paying for it, I just feel like, Nico needs to chill out a little bit. Like, that's not what they signed up for. So stuff like that. Like, I want you to know that I do care about the quality of what we're putting out, and that it is a lot of television that we're watching, and the hours it takes to watch the shows and then sit and talk about the shows and then edit how we talked about the shows and then share it and then promote it. I'm the person doing that, and I'm doing that on top of like other stuff. So
this is another thing is the world is on fire.
Also that. Yeah. Yes, please.
So yes. We're a little late sometimes. It's not a big deal.
Yes. Yes,
and we were literally on fire these past 3 days.
Oh my God. Yeah, I will tell you. I have a quick story about that. But all that to say that when I was working on the schedule, because John is, for the first time in like a minute, it feels like, is going to be on like 3 podcasts right now. And before, it's again a lot easier to work around Kaylee and Donnie because I can tell them what to do and they live with me. But when I have to coordinate with other folks, it's a bit harder. And we are doing a thing where we're trying, until Westworld came along, to only have Donnie record on the weekend. So nights like tonight, where he also has to work, we have to order takeout so that he can eat while he's podcasting. Like, it's a hustle. It's a sacrifice what we're doing. But anyway, I was going through the schedule for, this and Only Murders in the Building and blah, 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 and checking John's availability. And then I remembered Stranger Things. And the Umbrella Academy. And I'm looking at the schedule and I'm like, fuck, because all of those involve Donnie, then that's the weekend. And I was so like annoyed. And then I remember, wait, I get to say, and hopefully you guys understand that, you know, sometimes we're going to be a bit behind other folks. And that's why. Because we need to be, you know, in order to be able to do this and do it well, we need to be. So check the schedule.
Unless y'all who are listening, especially this one, you said this is going to be on the free feed, right?
Yes, sir.
So this episode, if y'all are listening to this for free, y'all should go and join the Patreon, and then maybe Donnie can quit his job.
Listen, if folks signed up, I would start a lower tier. I would cover damn near anything on TV if I could make enough to not have to do anything else. Like, right? Lord, they'd be like, reality, I'd be over here talking about The Bachelorette every fucking week. I wouldn't give a shit. But no, exactly. I don't know. No, I think I do have a little bit of standards, John. I don't know.
No, you gotta sell out. You gotta sell out completely. Did I mention that the world is on fire?
You're absolutely right. So check the schedule though. So because there is just a lot going on, and I did have to shift some things by a week or two, but everything is still there. I know what we owe you. I know what's coming up. Everything will get covered. Just have a little patience, because I would rather wait and make sure I am watching and understanding what I'm watching and able to talk about it worth a damn than to just keep pushing stuff out and not feeling like it's and feeling like it's shit. Okay, because sometimes I feel like it's been shit, and that's just me. Again, no one has complained. No one. Even if you have complaints, you've kept them to yourself, and I appreciate you. But no one has.
Oh, you didn't get my letters?
No. I did not. So that said, the quick story, the being on fire. One of the reasons something was late was Miss Marvel. That was like a day late. And again, you guys have probably like got podcasts from other people backed up. Like I don't think you're sitting there tapping your watch or whatever for us. But I feel bad. You know, I put the schedule up there for a reason. I like to do what I say I'm going to do when I say I'm going to do it. Anyway, Miss Marvel was late because, y'all, it has been hot as balls here. And like one night it was like the AC was going, and then we have a fan in here, and it was really nice. Like Haley and I were just like, wow, this is like perfect. And then the weather kind of lowered for a bit. And then we had another spike. And this time it was just like, you know that hot, you just like can't get comfortable, and just like you hate life and you hate oxygen, you know, like that kind of hot where it's just like, please God, make it stop.
You're describing Georgia in like every day between May and
Yes. And I think about that. I was just thinking about that the other day when I last was home, and I was like, I forgot how oppressively hot Georgia is. It is like chokingly hot. But so it was one of those
But the
nights.
difference is like the South, like AC is just it embedded in every fucking thing you own down there. The Pacific Northwest does not believe in ACs. It's a myth up here. It's like Bigfoot.
It's not built for that. So it was pretty. What?
I was just thinking, like, people up there sweating and like not using deodorant and stuff.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
I know where y'all live. Come on.
I know. Everybody's got hairy armpits. So
I don't leave the house, so I don't know these things. Like, I take your word for it.
Keep it
So it was really hot, and I had just finished. The podcast was downloading onto my desktop from GarageBand. And I was sitting in the living room in Tony's recliner. He had left for work. And I had the laptop on my bare thighs. And it was already hot.
How you this is
I know.
This is crime.
I know. And I'm like,
criminal.
because it was just like, because like it took me like it was one of those great podcasts where like there was no need to like edit out Nico or anything. So it was literally like slice, 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 put the music in, slice, 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 type what the name is, export to desktop, right? But for some reason it just felt like the download process was taking forever again because it was already hot. And I was like, I still have to then go and get the image and like write on the like, you know, go into Canva and do all of that, and then upload it to Patreon and upload the image and then share it and then make the bit.ly link. And y'all, I love y'all, but I was like, fuck it. It was almost my bedtime because for some reason I've been going to sleep really early. It was like 9 o'clock. I was like, As soon as that shit was done, I slammed that laptop shut. I took my ass to sleep. And that's why the podcast was late, because I was tired and it was fucking hot. So anyway, so yeah, we were literally on fire. But it's nice now. It's back to, we got the windows open and the fans on and it feels good. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Westworld. Not the best world. Donnie, get your shit together.
The Auguries. Did y'all know what the fuck that was?
Yeah. Well, I know what an augury is.
I didn't know what the fuck an augury was. I had to look it up.
What are we talking about?
Well, oh shit. Well, maybe I don't.
Okay.
Maybe I don't know. Oh, Jesus Christ, Donnie. Do you know why you're here?
Nope.
Are you questioning the nature of your reality?
Is this now?
God.
Somebody's writing my story and it's all fucked up.
I was just about to say, I would absolutely stalk and harass the person who's scripting this shit. So maybe I don't know. It's like a not like a prophet. Well, yeah, like the person is like an augury or a person who practices like prophesizing or something like that, but it's like an omen. So I just assumed the auguries were like the omens. Like yeah,
that's basically an augury is an omen, yeah, and yeah, but I didn't know that shit. So I was like, what the fuck is this? And then they didn't say it in the episode. Like
no.
I'm used to TV where they're like, listen, this is the title.
Look, no, we're used to shows where the title is just like the names of the people in the episodes, like Hawk and Dove.
yeah, part 1.
Right.
Dove and Hawk 2.
Then Dove and Hawk. Right.
And then Hank and whatever the fuck her name is.
Right. Yeah, and then they have to like also like we're used to shows where then they always have to say the episode name in the episode.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Westworld's smarter than that.
No, I was expecting for somebody to be like, augury, and then somebody's like, what the fuck is that? And then somebody be like, well, an augury is an omen. And they didn't do that.
Nope. They were like, Google is your friend. But no, I think the only reason I know it might have to do with something I can't yet talk about, but something I've already done, which is written a book about spells and prophecies and stuff like that. So that might be how I learned like grimoire, and I didn't know that shit before then. Jindardan and other shit like that. So anyway, yeah, so this being the auguries, more than one. So omens. I don't know if it's maybe the stuff that was that Christina was seeing.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a few that I can point out throughout when we talk about it, but maybe that, I don't know. But let's do overall thoughts. Donnie.
Yes.
Are you still eating?
No, I'm done.
Okay,
I mean,
I know
got
you
fries
eat.
and onion rings left, but I'm just snacking on this.
Okay, because I was like, I know you eat fast, and I was trying to like stall for time for you, but I know you also have to go to work. So, what were your overall thoughts?
I truly could not remember last season. God, I think it's been 2-3 years since the last season. And so when this started, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't watch any of the trailers or anything like that, what this season was about or who was in it. And I think just before the episode premiered, I saw something that, hey, Teddy's back. So I knew he was going to be in there.
You knew that who?
Teddy.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Kaylee just took our dog out, and he does this thing where the moment you open the front door, he just starts losing his shit.
Yeah,
like,
he lunges
he has to. He has to announce that he's outside, bitches. Basically, he needs training. He does.
Yes, he does.
Okay, go ahead.
But yeah, so I forgot how much I like this show. Like when you haven't watched the show in a while, in a couple of years, or anything like that, you completely forget about it. And just watching this episode is like, oh yeah, okay, now I remember what Westworld is. It's a lot of mystery, and then it's just interesting how they can somehow, after 4 seasons, still have more mystery. like they just like, what the fuck? Like I think you watch every premiere of this every season, you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like you don't know, and I just love how they write that. Like you truly don't know what the fuck's going on. You see the Man in Black, you're like, I thought he was dead. Like, and then they're like, oh yeah, this is 8 years later. It's like, oh, what the fuck is going on? Like we don't know anything after watching this first episode. In my opinion.
Well, speak for yourself. No.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's theories, but
I get you. No, I get you.
But
gotcha.
So that's I like it just introduces almost a whole new show with characters that we know.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Donnie? I mean,
I'm okay. All right.
Now I might be high. Now the edible might have kicked in. Good.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, like, similarly, like, I didn't remember, like, a lot about the previous season, but I do remember that it started really high for me.
Yeah.
And then it ended, I mean, not bad, but it was kind of underwhelming, the finale for me. Like, when I opened my notes, I see I have the same notes, the same file. And so I saw my overall thoughts from the finale of the last season, and it was underwhelming. And I was like, oh yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, with that said, this episode was really fucking good. Like, I was like, and it's so exciting. Like, it was so exciting to watch and be like, all right, so what's going on? And like, obviously, like, the cold open, like, that was awesome. But like, to get into it and be like, okay, so 8 years have passed, so like, that's something.
Yeah.
And so like, just to find that out, so like, it's interesting to watch, and I mean, I don't know, like, it feels like the whole damn world is Westworld.
Yeah, it's I was thinking
they deleted this whole thing that could tell people, because like I said, I completely forgot about what the last season was about, but it was that whole thing of everybody knowing exactly who they're going to be or whatever it is, that thing that they created to know
Rehoboam or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember, but it's like, oh yeah, this person could be a criminal, so they're arrested now, type of thing. They knew it knew everybody's future, so they deleted that, got rid of that. But then this season, like, there's like, now it's almost what I'm getting out of, like, is they're writing, now they're telling people what to do. Like, they're writing these stories for people, making them do those things without their permission or without them even agreeing to do it.
Interesting that's what you think. Okay. Go ahead, John. Were you done? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is just like finding that stuff out, like seeing like the slow burn of like figuring out what the idea of this season looks like it's going to be, like, I mean, like, it feels very similar to like the latest Matrix movie.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes, very much so.
Like that, or like that movie Stranger Than Fiction. Y'all remember that with Will Ferrell? It's kind of like that, it's like where it just feels like, oh, there's a narrator over this. Like I said, it feels like instead of Westworld being confined to this like theme park, it's just the entire globe feels like it's
and
that.
And it always, the show always had this feeling of, I remember the first time we saw off Westworld in the show in season 2. It always looked kind of futuristic and very robotic. Like, again, like it was a world of machines. But then, like, I think, wasn't it last season we learned Paris is no longer?
Oh yeah,
right?
I think that was in one of the party scenes, right? Where wasn't that kind of like one of the conversations they had?
It was when the bad guy had Maeve in the simulation or whatever out to dinner, and she was talking about something like going to Paris, and he said he told her like there is no Paris is no more, and I think later we found out like him and his little brother. Remember they witnessed like that explosion. Yeah, and that was Paris being decimated or whatever.
Little brother died or something.
So I was curious. I have that in my notes somewhere down the line. I was like, do you think Paris ever? Like, probably not, huh? Like it's just like nothing about the world here feels real. Like, so when they say places like he's interested in a senator in California. It's like, what do you know about California? Because all of this feels like Mars now. Does that make sense?
What do you know about California?
Right. It feels fake. Like, it feels like... So I'm agreeing with you, basically. Where, like, it feels like the park has slowly... Even though, again, the world always felt not quite like our world. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this show never felt like... Anytime that we've been off the island, I guess I should say... it never felt like a real world anyway. But this season, or this episode in particular, everything, it just felt like movie
Nina
sets.
kept thinking like, "Oh, this ain't real. This is like."
Oh my god! Yes.
I mean,
but I know one thing for sure isn't real.
Aaron Paul, like she's like, "Oh, he's not.
That's
not real."
But I know one thing is not real. But for sure. But
that's the thing is. Sorry, Nina. Were you saying something?
No. I was just gonna finish up my overall thoughts. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, what was I gonna say? Oh God, I don't remember. Maybe it'll come to me. I'm sorry. No, it's fine. Go ahead.
So yeah, and trying to figure everything out, that was a lot of fun. But I have to just, before we dive into the scenes, I have to say how we started watching it. So we were gonna watch it. And Donnie was like, we were waiting for it to like go live. I think I asked you, it was like 5 p.m., right? I was like, do you think the episode is up? And you said, no, it's probably going to, not until 6 p.m., 9 Eastern, right? So we waited, and it was like 5 or 10 after 6. And I was like, oh, let me run in the bedroom, get my glasses. So I sit down on the couch, I come back, sit down on the couch, he pressed play, and the opening starts, and then I love the music, and I was like, oh god, I miss this music so much. And like we're watching the credits, and Donnie specifically said, well, it's probably going to be different, not the music but
the opening,
the imagery, right? Because it changes every season. So we were watching it, and I'm like waiting for it to be different, and then I start seeing the cast names. And I saw, I almost said Olivia Rodrigo. I forgot his name, though. Hector, the actor who played Hector. I saw his name. No, the first one I saw was Anthony Hopkins. You remember? And I was like,
how is he?
I was like, how is he back? I was like, for why? And Donnie was like, probably flashbacks. And I was like, but for why? I was like, wow, they got Anthony Hopkins back. And then I saw, like I said, the Hector guy and a few more. And I was like, wow, I was like, didn't that character die? So then the episode begins, and it's just like the very first episode. And I'm like, oh, what are we doing? Like, okay, but it's going to be like slightly different. And then the more it goes on, I'm like, Donnie, did you start the very first episode? But because it's Westworld, all of that was possible. You know what I mean? Like, it was possible that all the characters that I saw in the, that were dead were back. And it was very possible that this opening scene, that for whatever reason, they were just mimicking, what they'd done. But yeah, he'd started season 1, episode 1. What is wrong with that dog? Go ahead.
After y'all finished watching that episode, y'all started this one.
Right.
I did remember what I was going to say. I know, like, it feels like, because they said, all the robots were destroyed 7 years ago. And I was like, oh, man, I bet they think they won. But the robots actually won.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. That's what I love watching the show for. Like, is you can come up with the craziest shit. And, like, you might be right.
Right,
or
right.
You might not. But, like,
Completely
it's still fun
off.
to think about.
Right. And I think that's, like, overall where, I was like, what I mean when it's like, I don't even care if it's good. Like you said, with the finale, you look through your notes and you were underwhelmed. I remember being frustrated with the writing, specifically with Maeve and Dolores. I felt like it was like a forced kind of conflict between them, purposely like not having them say things that they should say just to keep, this fake tension or whatever. But it's always just like a good, fun TV experience, if that makes sense, So, but yes, that said, I love this. I loved like the look of, like, again, everything just kind of looked fake. It reminded me of, when we were kids, the little, are they called little people? The house sets, but all the people, like the bottoms were just like a open circle. And
like
right?
Little tights or something like that?
Yeah, they were called little people.
Okay. But the one I'm talking
about.
Oh, okay. But the one I'm talking about, like, these specifically had, like, they weren't, like, cartoonish, if that makes, like, they weren't, like, blocks.
More roundish. Yeah, they were rounded. With
they weren't, like, the plastic blocks type things. Yeah. It kind of reminds, anyway, it just, like, where Christina lived, it kind of reminded me of that, like a play set where you could just kind of, like, pick people up and move them around. Like, again, it felt like a movie set.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I just like the feel of that.
Walking outside looked like something backlot studio.
Exactly.
Set.
And that's the thing, is like you watch it and you're like, is this meant to feel like fake? Like, is it meant to do that? Or does it just look fake because it's meant to be a futuristic, society?
Right.
Like,
because again,
I don't know about you guys, but it doesn't feel as futuristic as last season did. Like, last season I felt like it was very futuristic.
No, but see,
it's kind of toned back.
I feel like
they dropped a lot of the robots. All the robots are gone.
Yeah, but then I do like the subtle differences, like the phones. Like, the phones are basically just like a thin piece of glass now. Like, Jesus Christ, like that type of stuff. But like you said, with getting rid of the robots, there are no more like self-driving cars. Like, that seems to be gone. But again, what are we comparing that to? Like, what we know is real is where Caleb and Maeve are. And we're comparing...
Wow.
What?
We assume.
It is. Yeah, we do.
I mean, you never know with this show. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Like, you never I
feel fairly certain that's like our foundation, if you will. Like, this is the world that's telling us how much time has passed. Like, I'm probably gonna slip up and say Dolores when I meet Christina, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it is the same person.
Yeah, her world doesn't tell us anything, if you notice. Do you know what I mean? Whereas in our world, let's say, what I believe, my theory is the real world, is stuff like political news in the background, right? And talk of the things that happened how many years ago, so that it roots us to now, if that makes sense. Where, like, Dolores's world is just mumbo jumbo. Like, nothing is real. Like, even the games, like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't even, like, they're here in our world, they're saying California and stuff like that. But in Dolores's world, like, I don't even think they said anything that roots that into now, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That probably didn't make
Nothing
sense.
definitive. Nothing.
Yeah,
definitive
it just feels fake. It feels very simulaic. Is that a word?
Yeah, like even when
much like a simulation.
Right, like even when the guy's like, "What games do you work on? Maybe I'll play them," and then she doesn't even say anything specific about that.
Yeah, she's like, "Well, you wouldn't have known the characters because they're NPCs," and it's like, okay. And then so there's some other stuff. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So William, Man in Black, he tries to buy this land, all of Vegas, this land where there's servers, and presumably this is the data that is, this data is where the hosts are, the ones that.
So this is the past, right? This isn't current time.
No, I think this is current.
The future.
Really, I thought this was the past, like before even season 1.
See, I wasn't sure.
This is now, because this is what triggers the attack on Maeve and Caleb.
See,
this is now.
I wasn't sure. Like, what I was thinking was, because I know that was my assumption too, and I think that's correct. But I do know, like, he says 8 years, right? And then later they say 7 years.
Oh, because, okay,
and so I wasn't sure if...
Well, the only thing they said 7 years, his daughter was 7 years old. That was the only reference.
No. The riots was 7 years ago, too.
Right. Yeah. No. Because what he said was, when the Man in Black said, and William, whatever, he said the data was stolen 8 years ago. That was the end of season... Two. That's when Dolores uploaded all those people to whatever.
Right.
And he goes, and he said, they stole it from me 8 years ago. Last season was a year after that. So people like Maeve and Caleb, they're saying 7 years ago from the riots.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, they're talking about 2 different points in time.
Got it. That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure.
Right.
So then this isn't the Man in Black, then? You still think this is...
No, he's definitely dead because they showed him getting his throat cut. What I don't know is who is in his host, which we'll talk about. Okay. So, but what I hear, he's trying to buy these servers, and because of what he says, again, that someone stole the data from him. And he was like, well, take it up with the person who stole it. And he goes, I can't because she's dead. So he's talking about Dolores. And he wants to buy it. And the man's like, no. And he's like, okay, fine. If you don't buy it from me today, I'll be back tomorrow. You'll give it to me tomorrow for free.
Yeah, that's pretty badass.
Yeah. And I was just like, nothing. So, so he says no. And then he goes home, the would-be seller. And we also learned that William has been buying up land. And the same shit that, it's the same person technically, that she was doing, that Charlotte, Dolores, was doing last season, against what's his face? Oh my God, the bad guy of last season, like using these, I guess, what do they call them? Shell companies to like buy up stuff. So when he tells the guy, I want to buy these, these servers, and he tells him no, he goes, and don't think we don't know that you've been buying up, our land. It's like scrub land. We were happy to like sell it to you, but you can't have this. So I wonder, like, to buy up all the land around it, to what end?
To create a new world.
In Vegas?
Yeah. New Westworld.
I would think
But
it's more about
is,
security,
like,
right? Because you buy the land. Like if they sold him the servers without, but also still owning the land, like it's easier to protect if you own it and as much around it. Does that make sense? I don't know.
But obviously, I mean, this is whoever the Man in Black is somebody that's on our side.
No, he's not.
But if he's buying the server, and then the last thing we see is Teddy outside of what's her name's house.
No, because oh my god!
But it's like I thought Teddy was.
No, it's like you didn't even watch season 2 and 3.
I told you.
No. Okay. We'll get there. Okay, I'll walk you through it. But here, this is. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, this is really cool. Like they're filming on the Hoover Dam. That was cool.
Yeah.
I was about to say, this is the Hoover Dam, which is where?
Right outside Vegas.
Yeah.
So, if...
It's so funny. The reason that I know that is from the Beavis and Butthead movie in the 90s.
But any movie they do in Vegas, any movie that takes place in Vegas always has the Hoover Dam in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, Fools
The freaking National Lampoons,
yeah.
They went to the Hoover Dam.
I feel like there were like 2 people listening that were like, "Fuck yeah, Fools Rush In." Matthew Perry, Selma Hayek, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was trying to think of like what would be also the significance of buying up all that land, if not to just own as much as you can around this very valuable thing, but. Either way, the guy won't sell, so he goes home. And, you know what I wanted to say? When the episode began, it was this guy getting ready, and it felt very much like, remember the episode where they were testing for fidelity? With the, you know what I'm talking about? What's his name? The guy who owned the park?
Yeah, like, the old guy, yeah.
Yeah. And then later we see that they were doing it to the Man in Black. This, like, I remember when it started, like, thinking, is this real? Like, with this show, you don't know. But also,
exactly.
but also, no, but once things got going, I was sure where I was. But with this show, you don't know because life is like this. Like, so when we later are with Christina, no, I'm serious. Life is
like a box of chocolates.
No, it's mundane and repetitive. And it'll choke the fucking life out of you doing the same shit day after day. And we see it later with Christina, who longs for something else. Like, and we see her doing the same fucking thing, much like we saw Dolores doing the same thing when somebody was programming her life. But anyway, he goes home.
What they call it? What they call it when? Never mind. I will talk about it when we get there. Never mind. Go ahead.
So the guy goes home and he finds all these flies in his house, and then the next day he comes in there and he kills his boss, presumably. And this is cartel. These are not like good businessmen. Not that they deserve this.
These aren't like William. I mean, these guys are violent, unlike William.
Yeah, unlike William, the good businessman.
True. There's no such thing as a good billionaire, by the way. And I'm starting to feel the same about millionaires.
That's the thing. It's like when those flies, I was like, dude, get out of there. Like, what are you doing walking into some flies?
Like, do you think it wasn't too late?
What do you mean?
Like, everything we saw up to like when the moment you were like, dude, get out of there, and he didn't, like, do you think there was a chance, or was it already too late? Like, how fast do those flies move? If he ran.
I mean, that's the thing. Is like, if he ran, they probably would have just like jumped his ass. But
oh god, just the thought of that. Oh.
But I mean, when you open the door and there's like 4 flies, it's like, you know what your house is like.
Yeah.
If you come in there and you're not used to seeing 4 fucking flies on your door.
I said that.
Call the exterminator.
I said he is not behaving. This is not appropriate behavior for finding 4 flies in your house.
Yeah,
unless like, this is normal.
Guy house.
Right. I mean, they weren't there this morning, and I don't know, maybe that was the purpose of, them showing him getting ready. Like, he lived immaculately, right? So anyway, and then he gives the property to William and cuts his own throat. And I want to say this transaction again happened with the same amount of effort that Christina answers her phone. It was literally like, ding, you now own all of this. Yeah. And then he slits his own throat. Yeah.
Here's this plexiglass. Here you go.
Yeah.
Right. Did y'all watch the video after the episode?
No.
I feel like
but I didn't.
I was about to say, I feel like I've heard it twice, but I don't think I've ever was really ever looked up while it was playing.
It was really interesting because they talked about the fly scene, and they used real flies for reference. Like, I guess they had some flies there, and then they made more of them with CGI. Mm-hmm. And it was so interesting the way that they talked about it. They talked about it like William. I was almost like, this is freaking me out, because this is kind of where we are. Like, we're on the verge of Westworld right now, because the guy was like, oh yeah, we used the real flies, and then we were able to overtake them with CGI.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, what? This sounds very ominous. This is an augury if I've ever seen one.
Okay, so then we meet Christina, who's very clearly Dolores of some sort. And her work is writing stories for NPCs, non-playable characters in video games. And apparently her boss wants her to do more graphic stories, like the one she did a few months ago about a guy who apparently betrayed his family, kind of went crazy, and was stalking someone.
Yeah, became a stalker.
But she wants to write about a story that sounds very much like the first season of Westworld.
Yeah, she's fighting it. She does that. She's like, oh, our girl lives with alone with her father in the country. Yeah. No, wait, the city.
And because this is, like John mentioned earlier, because this does bring to mind the latest Matrix movie, when the actor from the Vampire Diaries calls her into the office. The character's name is Emmett. I have to look up the actor. But wait a second. I think his wife was on this show last season. Let me go do my Googles. But anyway, because it did put me in the mind of The Matrix as well, that last movie, when he calls her in the office, I just immediately thought he was like an Agent Smith type code meant to, no more of that, wide-eyed innocent girl yearning to be free shit, I don't know.
He's Hemsworth. Whatever that guy's fucking name is.
Oh my god, don't.
Liam?
No, I remember Luke. Luke is his name. I mean his character name.
Donnie got the wrong one.
That's one of them fucking Hemsworths.
Oh my god. Who am I looking up again?
The Emmett guy.
Oh, Michael Malarkey.
There you go.
And now I have to look up who he's married to. But if I'm not mistaken, his wife is, last season, there was the woman who, she was pregnant and she reported to Charlotte / Dolores. She's the one who alerted her to the fact that they were approaching like a hostile takeover. Yep, that's her. And you've seen her. If you do, her name is Nadine Lewington. If you guys Google her.
Yeah, I mean, if you watched the last season of Westworld, you've seen her.
Well, I mean, I feel like you guys know her too. If that makes sense. Wait, I hope I'm right. I'm pretty sure this is her. But anyway, so where was I? Hold on. Oh, so there were a couple of things.
She was in Westworld. I don't.
That was her, right?
I'm looking at her filmography. I don't recognize anything else that she's been in that I've seen.
She feels. No.
Is that Misfits? She was in Misfits, but I don't know if that's the Misfits that I'm thinking of. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But that's the only thing that I see that I might have watched that she was in.
I feel like, I'm sorry, like everybody who's listening, who are like, what are they doing? I'll look it up later. I won't derail anymore. Okay, so there was a couple of things though. As Christine is going about her day, did you guys notice, I think I pointed this out to you when we were watching it, Donnie, when she's walking to work and there are like 3 or 4 guys, they walk by her and they're like, this place is wild. Yes. I can't believe you've never been here before. And I know this great place. And it was very much like season 1.
Right. And
she with like those football guys.
She kind of looks back.
She looks at them. Yeah.
Yeah, she's in their loop or whatever. Yeah. Whatever the fuck you call that. Is that what they call it? A loop or? Mm-hmm. There you go.
So, and then she gets a call from the guy who later we find out his name is Peter about, he says her game or their game is ruining his life. Later he talks about like, I know the tower, I know it's real. I know the tower is real. And then there's a, houseless person with a sign and they're like, the tower is watching or something like that. Do you guys catch that?
I missed that.
Yeah, I don't think I'll count that.
So I have a theory about what this is, but I'm not 100% sure what the fuck this is, if that makes sense. Like what the fuck is going on? No. I'll wait. So let's get caught up with the other characters first. Maeve is living out in the woods. And,
in Alaska.
And they do this really cool... No, was it really Alaska? Because I was not paying attention.
It's either... Well, it was snowing and there's mountains, so I'm just assuming it's either Alaska or Colorado or... Okay. That's just my assumption.
It's like snowing. Like, I love how... This reminds me of how... speaking of Stranger Things from earlier, this reminds me of how... in the finale, I like every time they would cut back and forth, like when they cut back to Russia, I would think we were in the Upside Down because it looked so goddamn miserable. Do you remember, Tony?
Yep.
It would be like this aerial shot and it would just be all this snow and it was always like the coloring changed. Do you know what I mean? Like the color palette seems to change on the show when they're there. And it just looks so washed out. And every time I'd be like, thinking we were going to go see, what was his name? Vecna. But no, we were just checking in with, what's his face? Anyway, so Maeve is out in the woods. I couldn't tell what she was hovering her hand over. I know there was like a radio in front of her, a generator, like all the things that lost power. But she was like hovering her hand over something. So I could not understand exactly what the fuck she was doing.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. It was like some it was kind of like robot meditating. It felt like.
Right?
I thought she was doing yoga.
That's what I was trying to figure out. I was like, is she powering herself?
Whatever she was doing is what caused the blackout. Was what I
right.
thought.
Oh, but maybe she is powering herself. Maybe she's like using one of those touchless chargers.
Listen, I could not figure out the purpose of this other than they use it to give us like another previously on in a slick way. And so we get to see what she and Caleb did after we last saw them on that overpass. And it looks like they went and blew up the Rehoboth, and then somehow he got hurt. I don't know if he was shot. I don't know if he got hurt in that blast we see them jumping from. But I thought, so this is why I thought then when we see Caleb's life next, this is why I thought it was fake, Donnie, because I thought they were telling us that he died or that he got hurt and they got separated and someone has him in some sort of simulation. That's the first reason I thought it. Then when we talk about his life, I'll tell you why I continue to think that.
And Nita's like, he don't deserve all this.
No, I did not say that. I did not say that. Wait a second, did I say that?
No, but that's,
okay.
As you're explaining it,
no,
coming off.
No. I'm just saying they showed us this, and it looked like he was dying. But I know Aaron Paul's in the show, so and then when they show him, I'm like, okay. But there again, when we talk about his life, I'll tell you why it felt fake. Okay, so yeah, and she causes this blackout. I guess that's it. Okay, so let's talk about Caleb. So he's back
really quickly.
Go ahead.
So I just want, because I forgot to mention when I said I was going to. What do they call it when the host exhibits things from their past life, like a memory or whatever? What do they call it?
A reverie.
Yeah. She was doing that shit when she was making up that. That's what it was when she was making up that video game. It was one of them reveries.
That new story. Yeah. The love story.
I'm laughing because I'm high, and I forgot that you said what you were saying was something you meant to say before. Because for a split second, I was like, "Why is he mentioning this now? Did he forget where we are now?"
Like, I started to say it like before we got to that scene, and then I forgot to say it when we got to that scene.
No, I get it. I'm high, so I forget things very quickly.
Anyway, this is Westworld. We gotta throw things around the timeline, you know.
Right. Caleb is back to laying cable or whatever the hell it was he was doing, and I was like,
you bet he is.
And shut up, pervert.
You said it. Come on.
No, if laying pipe. I said laying cable. This is completely different.
It's the same thing.
So now this, I was just like, he's back to this Fred Flintstone life. I was like, what the fuck? This don't make sense. I'm like, why is it? I don't know what I was thinking, like, he should have been doing. But it just kind of felt like he led this revolution. Why are you like punching the clock?
He went back to He went back to the same profession he was doing before.
But
he was a construction worker.
But then, like when he's talking to the coworker, right? Because I was just like, again, like, what are you doing? And then when the coworker was like, he said, "Do you have any plans for the anniversary?" So at first, I thought he was talking. The second time I watched it, I thought, knowing now that Caleb is married, I thought maybe he had his anniversary coming up. But he was like, no, just work. And the guy said something like, taking advantage of that overtime. And that's when he mentions that the robots are gone. So now they even have the holiday. Yeah. So I'm like, I was like, does this mean that this is like the riots? There's like now a recognized holiday from that happening. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's it. I love the writing on this scene. Like it so just like, because like you said, like it's so reminiscent of like when we first met Caleb when he was doing the same fucking job. Mm-hmm. But like it does such a good job of introducing the changes that apparently have happened since the robots, and the guy is just like, he says it like he gives it, but it's a very natural and organic way of providing this exposition. It was just such a good scene.
He said that the riots basically was like job security, getting rid of, and then Caleb was like, but that wasn't necessarily the point of the riots. And I remember thinking, the first time I watched this, I remember thinking, exactly, so what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you doing the thing that the machine said you were, the only thing you were good enough to do? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're living the life this thing predicted for you, the thing you destroyed. So I was so confused. That's why I just felt like this has to be fake.
And then his coworker says that. He's like, oh yeah, well, do you really feel free right now, motherfucker. Like, you're just doing the same shit that you were doing before. I just love it. It's so good.
So then he goes.
That's probably my favorite scene in the whole fucking episode, honestly.
You hear your dog in there. So, when we meet his wife and daughter. Again, first we meet the daughter, who looks like she could be Thendiwe's daughter. So I was just like, what? And then I was like, wait a minute, Maeve can't have baby.
And the daughter, like,
right, that's what I don't know but wait, I don't know if you remember when they show her first. We see her, and then he approaches and she's like, Daddy, and I was like, what? And then I looked at you. Do you remember? I was like, how long ago was this again? And I was like, how? And I looked at you. I said, how old does this girl look? Because even to me, she looks older than I think she's supposed to be. You know, whereas we just watched Obi-Wan, and one character a child actor looked way younger than they were supposed to be. She looks way.
I wonder if.
So his wife had to have been.
Wait, Donnie, John was in the middle of a sentence. I don't know if you can't hear him. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I wonder how old the actress is. Like, is she older than 7? I wonder.
She looked older than 7, in my opinion.
I'll look it up if I can see. Okay, go ahead, Donnie.
No, so if she was born, or she's 7 years old, and the thing happened 7 years ago, that means that. But we never saw his wife in the 3rd season, correct?
I don't. I was going to ask if she was
his daughter, or.
Oh, I didn't even consider.
Or he was in a relationship already with her during season 3, but it didn't seem like he
didn't
was in a
have any. Yeah, they didn't hint to that.
Right. Or it's fake. Or all of this is not real.
Shut up, John.
And the daughter is like some sort of like
creation from the
like symbol.
Yeah.
Rodrigo.
They think they won, but they're actually in the Matrix.
Rodrigo Santoro is Celeste Clark is her name. The little actress's name, and I will look up her age in a minute. So anyway, I'm gonna try to get through this because I know Donnie has to leave soon. So yeah, again, I'm like, okay, this is clearly fake. Because why? Like, who are these people? Maeve,
and she's choosing to play gun out in the middle of public and cops start shooting her.
Also, why is your child playing like across like this busy ass street away from the house in a vacant lot? I was like, that's the shit I did, but I grew up in the fucking 80s. What's your excuse? What the fuck is happening here? This is weird. But wait. There's more. Maeve goes into Woody's Goodies. Did you check out the name of that store?
No, that sounds very shady.
And learns that she's been found out, and it turns out they're a host that William sent. And this actor, I'm assuming, I recognize the actor, but the fact that she called him Colonel Brigham, and he was like, who the hell is that? I was like, oh, he's a host. So he's clearly somebody from the park that she recognizes. Right. Yeah. One of the that Charlotte / Dolores has access to. So she burns the cabin.
She's 9.
She looks, yeah,
so she's 9 years old. Yeah, I found her resume. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Yeah, that. She's a great actress, though. But I just felt like I don't believe that she was born in the past 7 years. Anyway, so yeah, Maeve ends up burning down the cabin. Christina, we didn't talk about her roommate, whose name is Maya, right? Oh my God, my throat. See, this is why I asked for so many beverages. Go get me another one, please, because my throat is like on fire. Her roommate's name is Maya, played by Ariana DeBose. I hope I'm saying her last name right. And she just won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress for West Side Story. And she is
so good in that.
First, I don't want to get this part wrong. I believe she's like the first Afro-Latina openly queer actor to do so. So, yeah.
So she was absolutely the best part of that movie.
So when I recognized her, like as she's talking to Christina Dolores, thank you, Kaylee. I'm like, oh, she's so familiar. I'm like, Donnie, we just saw her in something. We just saw her in something. And then it hit me. I'm like, no, I just saw her acceptance speech. And that's what I know her from. Yeah, because I hadn't seen West Side. I still haven't seen West Side Story. So she has a great line where she's trying to convince Christina to go out on this date, this blind date. Art is a lie that tells the truth. And, you know, she's doing a lot of talking about what's real and what isn't real. As again, we're seeing signs that this isn't real, like Christina finding exactly the maze on her fire escape. We're like, oh, this is where we are. Okay. So this date of hers is super fucking gross.
Yeah, this guy is just from word one.
Every bit of everything he ever did was disgusting. You haven't found the right man. You sound depressed. It's like, eat a dick, let me fix you. Oh my god, there's a tab for that. There's a tab for everything, which reminded me of last season, right? Because didn't they have like those things, like those inhibitor things that people were taking,
right? And they
to
still
get different. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm guessing this. It's just evolved.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a pill for that.
Christina is approached by the stalker guy. His name is Peter. So, okay, let's talk about what we think is going on here.
I don't know. Next question.
Okay. So my thought is that because Teddy is here, which we see at the end, my thought is that this is the server that the Man in Black just bought. Yeah. That he, murdered, whatever. So now Charlotte / Dolores has control of at least the territory, right? And the land and the machinery itself, but they still can't access that data without Dolores. But Dolores is, so they think, and so everyone thinks, and as far as we know, is dead. But so this is because of Teddy. This is the only reason I think that this is there, is because Teddy is in there. So Christina is either something Ford created when he made this, or something Dolores created before she uploaded it to, or even after she uploaded it, because she was the only one who had access to it. You get what I mean? So, and it feels like someone's, I don't know if Teddy has somehow, if he has like admin rights. Because when that guy attacks her and then he fights the guy off, they just like disappear. It felt like because of what I'm thinking of where they are, it's just code. It's like, okay, if and I'm assuming that was Teddy, right?
Yeah.
He rode in on his Trojan horse.
I like it. So those are the reasons I think we're inside, but what I can't tell is Teddy, like, is he the one, because he's doing creeper shit, like standing outside her window. Like, was he the one who left the maze there? And we know that is used, like, in terms of their awakening, right? Of consciousness, of achieving consciousness. We know that that's imagery that they've used. So but what I can't tell is if he's there to make sure she stays on her loop or if he's the one trying to wake her up. And then why this version of Dolores even exists. Like, who put it there?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just because of I know the story she's writing is the first story she writes or whatever about the stalker. And now this guy's calling that. I was always throwing my off. I was like, how the fuck did he get her personal phone number? And kept calling her, almost like stalking her. But then his messages and him talking to her is like, why are you doing this to me? Like, whatever she's writing, he's forced to do. Like, he doesn't, like, it comes off like he doesn't want to be this stalker. He doesn't want to do these things.
Oh my God. I hope it's not. I hope
she's writing it. She's writing the script for him.
No. Oh my God. That would be terrible. I would absolutely burn my television. I hope it's not, because this whole world, quote unquote, exists because this was, remember, Ford's failsafe, right? Because he knew the world would never accept him. So it was like, here, you get to have your own place. And Dolores originally, if you remember in season 2, was like, fuck that. It's just another gilded cage. We deserve more than this. And she was just trying to destroy everything. And she was finally convinced, we learned later, to just go ahead and upload it. Teddy is there. Maeve's daughter is there. Homeboy from, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on his name. You know what I mean? You know who I mean?
I don't.
It's on the tip of my tongue. The great episode. I'll look it up. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, what I don't know is like what kind of world they created once they're there, because there are those there, they know exactly what they are. So I'm assuming, what is that like? Like, what type of world did they build for themselves? Because it sounds like somewhere, some people are being forced to do shit against their will.
Right. And that's how it's coming.
And it's like, why is that a thing?
Right.
I mean, that guy, absolutely. I mean, that's what I assumed was that.
And that's assuming he's real. Right? And that's assuming
he's real. And he was like, change
real.
the ending, or like he kept telling her, change the ending because I'm going to basically kill myself.
Or is that what they're doing? Did they create things for their own amusement? And is she a worker who does that? You get what I'm saying? Have they become the overlords again?
That's the thing, is like, that was the part that I felt that was like the most similar to the new Matrix movie. I mean, not to spoil that movie for people, but like the fact that he was writing the story and he didn't know that he was writing the story.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he was writing the story that, like, basically he was writing the Matrix.
Right.
And he didn't realize that's what he was doing. But he was put into that program as, like, a failsafe or whatever.
Right.
So that program wouldn't, like, be lost. Or what. It's like it would keep him kind of busy.
Right.
Within the system and not, have him, leave or whatever. And that's kind of what it feels like. She is kind of, maybe she put herself in this situation and like, or something like that, like something where like she's kind of in this situation where she's in a loop, but like she's kind of pulling herself out of the loop by like these characters that she's writing, like approaching her and stuff.
I don't know. I feel there's a part of me that wondered, like, I hope it's not something where Teddy is just like compelled or programmed to like watch over and protect her for whatever reason that she put herself in there. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like it feels like it was kind of like putting herself into a safe place where she wouldn't have to worry about things or something. I don't know, like something like that. Kind of, I'm just kind of trying to, put that, into the frame of that Matrix movie.
Yeah.
Which I would assume, like, if that is what they were planning to do, like, once that movie came out, they probably would have changed it a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to not do the exact same thing.
The exact same thing, yeah. Back at Caleb's house, this is another reason I just thought, I was like, she's the feds, because he hears a noise. And he's like, what's that? And she was like, probably nothing. I was like, no fucking wife would say that. I don't give a fuck what year in the future this is. Probably nothing. Absolutely, probably everything. How about that? Take your ass outside and see what it is.
I don't know. Like, I guess. I mean, I've never been a wife. So, like, I just.
But later they hint at, but he has PTSD. I guess is what.
Yeah.
And we know he had it before, and I don't know enough to say if this is something that you're quote unquote cured of, or if you're, this is something you're always dealing with, but it feels like what she was saying was that he has like a good thing now, and he still exhibits behaviors that she thinks is unhealthy and, quite frankly, like paranoid. So I understand if she feels that way, especially when you turn the corner and he has a gun in his hand, and by his own actions you startled him with this gun in his hand. I understand like her concern, but like she clearly heard it too. And so that was my thing. If it was like if it was clearly nothing, then okay. But like, I don't know. And then like the next night, of course, someone's shooting at your kid. But yeah. Anyway, I was like, she's the feds, but she's apparently not the feds. But it felt like, again, she was the Agent Smith type character, right? The one to be like, there's nothing, you got to let it go, take your pill, relax.
Yeah, she's supposed to keep him in line.
Exactly. So I was like, oh, this is fake. And it wasn't until Maeve showed up. No, I'm certain Maeve is rooted in the real world. And when she shows up, I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe this all was real.
It would be so wild if all of this is back in the server and they just don't know it.
Did you guys watch the trailer for the next episode?
A little, I think. I don't know. Yes.
I did. Yeah, I honestly do not remember exactly.
I just remember
happened.
Charlotte a little bit, and that she's wearing something where like she sleeve one. I feel like what she's wearing, I thought was kind of badass, is that she still has scarring from her burns on her one arm. Mm-hmm. And it looks like whatever outfit she's wearing, that arm she's sleeveless, but the other arm isn't. So she's like purposely like wants you to see her scars.
And I know they show Maeve and Caleb are in like 1930s.
Well, they're going to see a senator in California. Uh-huh. And okay, you know what? I don't remember if they did that whole this season on Westworld or if it's next week on Westworld.
Right, it's probably this season.
But I wonder, knowing what they're going to try to do, I wonder if people have brought Westworld home.
That's what it looked like. Just in the
right, like this senator has a little.
Right. Well,
shut up, John.
Like the at-home version of the game.
It's a board game.
They're definitely in like 1930s world. Like
1930s
world. Noir world.
Yes.
So yeah, and then Teddy's a creep. I really feel like we've talked about everything, right? Maeve saves what's his face? Caleb and his daughter. I like the line where he's like, would you stay behind? And she goes, no. But then she goes, but I'd regret it. He don't hear that part, of course. But all right. So anyway, Donnie, I know you have to run off to work. We got to let the dog out.
I got 30 minutes, but...
Oh, really? I thought you have to leave in like 3 minutes.
No. It does.
Oh. Well, let me see if there's feedback. I don't... I don't think so. I picked this night because I thought it would give folks time. Because, again, it just feels like there's so much TV.
Mm-hmm.
You can let him out.
I think it would be really interesting if the humans think they won the fight or whatever against robots and they just didn't.
Right.
Like if the whole we had a revolution against robots, if all of that was just something that humans are now like made to think is a real thing.
I feel like you're just hating on humans because the world's on fire. Like, I get it. You're like, I hope we're all slaves.
I mean, honestly, what I'm doing is I'm writing the Matrix. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. Because if in order for that to work, all humans would have to be like inside a computer.
Right. That's what I was about to say. We'd all just be. Anyway, no. So there's no feedback yet. Like I said, we're going to be recording, or maybe I didn't mention this, but with all of the new stuff starting. We do have a bit of a more set schedule going forward. We will be recording Westworld on Tuesday nights. Miss Marvel on Friday, and on the weeks that we do cover Only Murders in the Building, we're going to do that on Saturdays. But that's like an every other week thing. We're going to do 2 episodes at a time until the end of the season. And I don't know how many episodes it is, but I do know this first week they've dropped 2. So I'm going to check those out soon. That's it. I don't have anything else. Do you guys have anything else you want to... I'm just warning you guys, my dog's going to start panting in the mic. And remember all that lovely stuff I said at the beginning of the podcast? I meant it. But for right now, you might get some dog panting. Because I it's hot in here and I don't want to lock him in another room. It's not fair to him. So. And he's a baby. Okay, go ahead.
In the video after the episode, like again, when they were like talking about making it and stuff, and they mentioned one thing that I thought was really interesting, like the way that they phrased it. They said that Caleb got this is kind of paraphrasing because I didn't write down the exact quote, but basically that he got the world that he wanted and he still isn't satisfied.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like that's like when you go to Westworld, like you think that you know what you want.
Yeah.
And then when you get it, you're like, wait a minute, this isn't what I wanted after all.
It just ends up telling you who you are.
That's why it feels like he's in there.
You shut up.
I'm just telling you. But I think that's the thing is I think that that's what I mean. It's like it feels like they've turned even if this is the real world that he and Maeve are in, like it feels like the world, like because we talked about that last season. I remember like the world kind of felt like with the robots and the computer telling you your destiny and all that. Like it felt like they turned the world into Westworld already in that way, where it was like everybody had their role that they were just given and they were told what to do and you couldn't deviate from it at all. And that's kind of, they think they've gotten off of that, but then like that's why I really like that scene with Caleb and his coworker, because his coworker's like, we're still doing that. Like even though we think we got rid of the robots, and even if they actually did win that fight, they're still in this loop that we're all in. Like we're all living in this stupid fucking loop where we just do the same thing all the time. And
exactly.
That's why I like it.
That's why I was about this. That's what I meant when, scenes like the first time we met the guy who got killed, who slit his own throat. And the first time we see Christina, that it felt like it could be a simulation because this is Westworld, right? But it also couldn't. I mean, it also felt like this is just because this is life, right? Mm-hmm. This is how it is for many, many people. It's the same repetitive, actions. So, one thing I did want to mention, I'd forgotten before, was, so there were a couple of things we didn't see. First, a refresher on the number of Dolores that are possibly out there. If you remember at the end of season 2, when she gets off the island, she has those drives, right? Those little balls.
The balls.
Right. And we find out in season 3 that she just duplicated herself, right? And we knew how many, I believe it was something like 5 that she had. One of those being Bernard, for sure.
Right.
So last season it was, obviously there was Dolores, like the blonde Dolores that was like pulling all the strings. But then she had herself and Charlotte, who is now the one running things, right? Like running that company and presumably pulling William's strings, right? Because she's the one that turned him into a host. But put a pin in that one because I'll come back to that in a second. So there was Charlotte. And then she was in I think it was he Irish. He was like the security guy.
Yeah.
She kills him.
I like that guy.
Yeah, the mustache guy. That's what I'm going to call it. His name. Oh, it was like, it began with a D. Anyway. And then we later found out she was in the Japanese guy, the samurai guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that guy was cool too.
Yeah. And,
Masashi.
Is that his name?
I think so. Masashi and Sato. I'm just looking through my old notes.
Okay. And then, so she was in that one, and then she was in one more. Oh, Lawrence. Remember, he showed up as a cop and saved Bernard and gave him the suitcase that led to, because that was always her plan, that led to, so those are the four. She was Charlotte, the guy with the mustache, Misashi? Misashi.
Yeah, Musashi.
Musashi.
I mean, that's what I have in my notes. Like, don't take my word for it. Don't quote me.
And then Lawrence. Okay, so she put herself in those host bodies. And as far as we know, the only ones that are still around are Charlotte and Lawrence. As far as we know. Lawrence is a cop, apparently. Okay, so then that leaves us with Bernard, who got that briefcase. All of this I'm remembering right as I'm talking and thinking.
I'm like, I don't remember any of this shit.
Oh my God. So Bernard was with fucking not Liam, Luke. The Hemsworth.
Got you.
Yep.
Oh my God, what's his name?
It's Luke. I don't remember
what's the character's name? Oh my God, it's gonna kill me. Anyway. So they were together and they were about to be killed by, I think, the Man in Black, and it was Stubbs, thanks. It was Lawrence who showed up and as a cop, and we found out that he was the fourth Dolores, and he gives them that briefcase. And then they're and Stubbs is really, really hurt, remember? And he was in the bathtub in the motel. Mm-hmm. And he was like, we were like, is he dying? Because he was just like bleeding and stuff. And then Bernard goes into the room and he sits down on the bed and he plugs into the briefcase, which, if I remember correctly, was that world. Bernard was the only one she trusted to have access to that world where all the other hosts are, right? So at the end, he goes in there, and then remember, like it fades and then it comes back, and like clearly a lot of time has passed and he's covered in dust, and he opens his eyes and stuff, like, and we were like, is Stubbs still in the bathtub? Like, what happened? Like, we're gonna find out Stubbs is just dead in there. So I don't know if, like, what that was. Like, he opened his eyes when? Like, the amount of dust and shit on him, did that feel like 8 years? It felt longer than, 7 years. It felt like he was sitting there for longer than 7 years.
I don't know what 7 years would look like.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like he sat through like an apocalypse.
Maybe he did.
Maybe this is super far in the future. Maybe all of this is in the future. It's in his head in that simulation.
Or maybe there was like weapons and like missiles and nuclear shit that happened in the robot versus man war.
Yeah. And now he goes back in time to. I've seen that movie. Yeah,
exactly.
So I'm curious to see, where he is, because we did not see him. We didn't see Bernard in this episode. So I'm curious, like, where he is now in terms of this 7 years later timeline, and how that plays into what we saw the last time we saw him. Is Stubbs in that tub dead? Can he really die? Like, how does that work? And then the Man in Black, because remember, there were like 2 after credit scenes last season. And one was him waking up and, I'm thinking the other one. This was him barging into the company's, one of their offices. I think it was like in Singapore or something. And he goes down into the basement and confronts Charlotte. And she knew he was coming. And then she, a host version of him walks out of the shadows, and he's dressed in that classic Man in Black, outfit with the hat and everything, and he kills the Man in Black. So I'm assuming the one we saw in this episode is the one that killed the real one. But who she put in him, I don't know.
It's another Dolores, gotta be, right?
I don't know.
I mean, that's my assumption. I mean, anytime it's anybody in somebody, I'm like, it's Dolores.
And then, I don't know what that means for, like, Alpha Dolores, because, the way it was presented last season, she, like, quote-unquote died. She was deleted. And her life was kind of being deleted in reverse, remember? Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I don't know if it's just, Evan Rachel Wood playing another kind of version of Dolores and Christina, and, do we just not ever call her Dolores? I don't know.
Oh, we got to.
I don't know. I mean, I will. Because I'd be high, so I don't know what's your excuse.
I'm obstinate.
And the other final thing I want to say, I can't believe I thought of all this stuff like after. I'm like, oh yeah. Like the more I think about it, in terms of hosts, we have Maeve, but remember towards the end she got help. Remember she got someone to smuggle out some hosts, and it's how Clementine and who was the Archer girl when they were in Shogun World? Do you remember? She was like, is her name Artemis? I can't remember. Oh God, I can't remember the white girl's name from Westworld that had the snake tattoo. You know who I'm talking about? She was with Hector. Okay.
Yeah, the very memorable tattoo. Yes.
Yes. Okay, so her Shogun World counterpart, because remember he was just recycling the same story, was an Archer in Shogun World. So her and Clementine were in last season because Maeve got them off the island, and they're the ones who killed the samurai. Mm-hmm. Remember, they cut him like around, like she walked around him and saw it. Oh my God, I got
him in too.
Yeah. So they're presumably still out here. I'm assuming, like she let them just like live their lives out in the world,
or they got snatched up in the robot war.
Will you stop with the robot war? I don't know that Maeve would allow that to happen, because it feels like those guys that showed up to watch Caleb's wife, those were like, I get that those were like his old military buddies, but it feels like, again, he kind of became this like leader in the face of this revolution or whatever, and these just kind of felt like people who were in it with him through all of that. And I kind of assumed that's how he met his wife.
At the Capitol on January 6th. They brought the flag.
That's all I could do is laugh. So yeah, I'm curious about that, like other hosts who may be off. And again, just why is Teddy being a fucking creeper? Like,
that's Teddy's whole thing.
Yeah, it's been his. That's what I'm saying. I really hope it's not something like this is what he was programmed to do in this world, like Ford. No. That was it would defeat the whole purpose. I think
he's looking for Sonic.
Why do you keep saying that?
I love that you say, why do you keep saying that, when he has not said it. He has not said it on the podcast.
Because she has no idea what the movie. She has no idea.
No, I swear to God.
He tells me that he's been saying it like off podcast.
No, I swear to God, he said it earlier tonight.
No, I said it. I said no, I never said it on the podcast.
Oh, okay.
I said it. Said something about it yesterday when we were watching the episode.
Okay, I don't fucking.
Because you said he doesn't age, and I said,
that's right.
He looks the same as Sonic too.
Yeah. So that's it.
I got really quickly, because two things that I have that I thought I wanted to call out here. One, I really liked the scene when Maeve saves Caleb, and then he's like, ooh, if something happened to my daughter, you have no idea. And she's like, I have every idea.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. And then
Yeah.
I like when he's like teaching his daughter with the gun, and then the mom's like, "Come eat," and then she's like, "I was visualizing," and the mom's like, "Visualize meatloaf."
Yeah. Yeah.
That was great. I like that.
All right, so that was it, you guys. Thank you for listening. I missed the show, like I said. I'm happy that it's back. I really like this episode. I enjoy. This is probably like the most thinking I've done on a podcast in a minute because I miss these kind of mystery box shows. The last time we did something like this, what was it from? Where we just didn't know what the fuck was going on. Donnie?
Shiny Girls too. Shiny Girls.
Yeah. Which we have to do that finale. I think I put that on there for maybe Friday. I think we'll do that before we record Miss Marvel with John. So anyway, they're like,
I don't know what's going on most of the time.
Yeah, people listening are like, we honestly don't care. Anyway, thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.